Welcome back to my Spoonie Sisters podcast. We are so excited to have you with us today. As always, I'm Jen.
And I'm Allie. And today we are thrilled to introduce a guest who's all about empowering people to feel confident in their own bodies and live their best lives. Joining us is the founder of Chaotic Good Fitness. Keira is not only a certified personal trainer, but also an advocate for inclusive and empathetic wellness, specializing in supporting neurodivergent and queer individuals in their health and fitness journeys.
Keira brings a unique perspective to fitness, blending their lifelong passion for education and weightlifting with their deep understanding of how intentionality can transform lives. They've even worked with clients managing chronic illnesses like RA, fibromyalgia, and, of course, POTS. We can't wait to dive into and learn more about their journey.
We're so excited to learn from you today, Keira. Let's get started. Yes, welcome.
Hello.
Yes, I know we did our little introduction, but can you introduce yourself to us?
Hi, I am Keira. I use they, them pronouns. You have mostly said everything I would normally say. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition coach. I live in Atlanta, but I do most of my training online. I have a wonderful dog who is half of why I lift at this point, and I just love what I do. Yeah, that's what I got.
It's amazing. How long have you been a personal trainer?
7 years now.
Very cool. I lived in Atlanta for 7 years. I actually just moved in 2023, but I was in Buckhead and I miss it.
I live in Lenox, right next door.
Cool. Yes. Yeah. But that's really cool. Okay, cool. How did you get into fitness? We talked about your chronic illnesses, and I know it's tricky and it's very rare to find. I'm a personal trainer as well, and it's rare to find us Spoonies as trainers. So I'd love to hear your story as to why you became a personal trainer and how you did it having chronic illnesses.
Yeah. So I originally went to college to be a Spanish teacher. I was a giant nerd growing up. I was not big into movement, exercise, sports. I was head in a book, not interested in gym class. When I went to college, I met my husband and I was trying to lose weight at the time, and he is a power lifter. So he was like, listen, weightlifting is going to help you a lot. He taught me how to do it. He used, if you're familiar, starting strengths. He taught me like all of the basics and very strongly imperative of gym etiquette and like what you're supposed to be doing. And then I fell in love with lifting because it made me feel so much better, so much more strong and confident. And it was the first time I'd ever done anything where I wasn't just naturally good at it. I was very much the kind of kid where I did everything well the first time, and if I didn't do it well, I just didn't do it. So that's kind of how I got into it. So my main chronic illnesses personally are ADHD and depression. I did not get diagnosed until way into all of my fitness journey. So a lot of what has happened in terms of becoming a trainer and doing what I do with clients is figuring stuff out on my own as I've gone, because as you said, there aren't a lot of us Spoonies that are trainers. I can count on one hand how many fitness influencers I follow that are Spoonies and talk about that kind of stuff.
As a personal trainer, what do you think sets your approach apart, especially when working with the neurodivergent and the queer individuals?
The biggest thing that I bring to the table is giving people the permission to exist as they are. Because like we're constantly bombarded by all different fitness ethos, and like people are telling us what we're supposed to be doing. And here's, calories in, calories out, do strength training, do CrossFit, do whatever. That's all fine and dandy. But each person with their neurodivergence, with their chronic illness, with whatever their intersectionality is, has really specific needs. And if you tell someone with ADHD to just not eat ice cream, that doesn't work, because sometimes like food gives you dopamine. And if you are lacking dopamine, telling somebody to stop doing the thing that gives them that neurotransmitter that is important, you're not doing anybody any favors. A lot of what I do is break down all of the generic concepts and make it more manageable and functionable for my clients. Reframe health. I feel like a lot of times I talk about how as a trainer, I am a therapist light. I have to help clients be okay with not being able to do the same thing every day. I have to help them be okay with not meeting their goals in the time frame they expect. And so a lot of what I do is not only help them build a program that makes sense for them, but also make them comfortable and confident to do those things, get rid of all the noise that's telling them that they're not good enough simply because they're not, following a neurotypical and
You've worked with clients managing chronic illnesses such as RA, fibromyalgia, and POTS. How do you tailor fitness plans to meet the needs of these clients that are navigating conditions like that?
So a lot of times when I talk to new clients, I explain training as a relationship. Very much so, I feel like it's a collaborative effort. And I have all the knowledge, I have the experience, I have all of these resources. I'm going to take what I know and give somebody a concept, and then we're going to take who they are, how they exist, what their needs are, and adjust and adapt it for them. Because I can work with an RA client, and one RA client isn't going to have the same needs as another RA client. So I'm going to say, okay, this is what generally works for RA. And then I'm going to talk to the client and be like, this is what I think that is going to work, but I don't expect it to be perfect. And we work together and use my knowledge and tools to build upon it and kind of create like this collaboration. We start on day one with one program, and by day 100, it's not always exactly the same because, every day is different. If you're in school, every semester is different. Life happens. You can't tell life to not happen. You can't tell your body to just not have a chronic illness. Working with people and with their personal bodies instead of forcing something that doesn't work is really the way it works. It's all about building sustainability and removing the guilt and shame that comes along with not being able to do things the way you're taught you're supposed to. Chronic illness tends to make bodies really unpredictable from day to day based on all sorts of different things. And my job is really to hold people's hands and help them be okay with that and really be comfortable with the amount of flexibility we need to have, and like building that flexibility into the program and building comfort for whatever is going on day to day.
I love that you mentioned like we're therapists, because it kind of like when we're training people as trainers, we listen to everybody's life story when we're not talking about what moves they're doing. So I understand that when I worked at the gym, I knew everybody's business, everybody's gossip, and all of their problems. Okay, I had 25 clients, and I'm like, I know everybody's gossip in here. But I love that you said, though, that you have to constantly like remind your clients if they don't get to their goals by a set time, even when they made those SMART goals, right? Like they didn't make it, or if every day looks different or every session looks different, that you have to tell them, hey, like you remind them essentially, right? Like, you're on this path, you have arthritis. It's not going to look the same. It's just like our chronic illness. It's not going to look the same every day. Well, I would love to hear for our listeners living with chronic illnesses, what advice you would give for finding movement or a fitness routine that works for them and empowers them.
One takeaway, if you hear nothing else from me, is that you need to work with your body rather than force it into a box that it doesn't belong in. The important thing is being consistent, and something that I've done a lot of times with clients with chronic illness is instead of doing like one specific SMART goal, we do a process goal. Instead of, okay, we are looking to lose 10 pounds in 3 months and do it X, Y, and Z way. We say, okay, these are the things that are going to help us build towards weight loss or towards strength or whatever it is. Here is the range of options for what you can do, and aim for something in that range. I do a minimum goal and like a ideal goal a lot of times. And consistency is not doing everything exactly right every time. Something frequently I hear on like ADHD TikTok and stuff is how like ADHD 100% is neurotypical 200%, and your 30% is plenty a lot of the time. That's really the thing, is like focus on at least something. Don't focus on being perfect every time. That still counts as consistency. It's about focusing on what feels good, what's manageable, and what you're willing to do rather than what society tells you you're supposed to do.
Yes. Can we please shout that to the rooftops? I love that the listeners are hearing another trainer say that, because I say that all the time. Like consistency is key, and you don't have to do exactly what you said. You don't have to be perfect. Even if your workout was a walk outside, like a fast walk instead, or maybe some stretching, right? It counts. So yes, yes to everything you said.
You describe yourself as a lifelong nerd. What role do hobbies such as board games or Doctor Who play in maintaining balance and joy in your own life?
The two big things that my hobbies do for me is they help me build community and they help me rest. Board games are collaborative effort. Watching shows like Doctor Who, I have seen Doctor Who multiple times. I watch all the way through. I'm watching all of the classic Who, but something I love doing is bringing someone new into it and showing them this thing that I absolutely love because it gets them excited for it. It gets us excited to talk together and be connective. I am very much a community-oriented person. And so building that community and building a group of people that I can rely on and bring joy together is really a big deal. Also, like with rest, like board games aren't necessarily what you think of in terms of resting, but like sleep is not the only way to rest. Sometimes rest is doing something that doesn't require focusing on work, doesn't require being on. And that's a big thing for me is turning off the work part of me, turning off the productivity. The other thing that my hobbies play a role of is something that I like to do for my clients is name their workouts fun things. I am a giant nerd and I have all sorts of nerdy interests and a lot of my clients are also giant nerds. And so I'll name their workouts things based on their nerdy interests. I have a whole program that's just named after different, Zelda game things. And I use D&D things and like all sorts of puns. And it adds a little extra spark of joy for both me because it makes me happy to see that my clients are excited and it makes them chuckle. So it's just like an added little burst of positivity.
Freaking love that, especially because like you could say like, we're going to do the Alonzi squats and nobody would know like what that is except for like you and your client. And it's like that connection, and I know that all of us trainers have different words for all of the exercises.
For real.
And secondly, it's not every day I meet a fellow Whovian. So who is your favorite doctor?
9 is my doctor.
Okay, mine's 10.
Nice.
Yes. I love yours is 9. It's not everybody's. That's rare.
It is. I really like 9.
I love him.
I am currently showing my friend Doctor Who, and we are in Matt Smith. We're like 4 episodes away from the episode where we find out that River is Amy's daughter. Wow. And I am just like, can we freaking get there? Can we get there yet?
So you can watch your friend.
Yeah, it's so like, I'm so excited about it.
It's crazy. I love that. I'm so excited for your friend. Okay,
yeah,
so anyway, but yes, I love everything you said.
Yep.
My favorite board game is called Mysterium. It's not even kind of like, Keira? It's not really a board game. There's a ghost and you have to kind of like solve the murder and the ghost gives you clues. It's really cool. And it's basically art. So you put a bunch of cards and it's a piece of art, but that piece of art, you have to think like the ghost. Like the ghost will give you a clue and you have to think, what does this piece of art mean? So you kind of have to know who the ghost is. It's really cool. It's called Mysterium.
Hey, listeners, are you living with a chronic illness and want to make your voice heard? Rare Patient Voice connects patients and caregivers with research opportunities so you can share your experiences and get paid for your time. Your insights help drive real change in healthcare. So sign up today using the link in our show notes and start making an impact. Okay, I'm looking it up right now. Is it MY or MI?
MY. Yeah. And Keira, what is your favorite board game?
My 2 favorite board games. One is called Tales of the Arabian Nights. It's basically if you took Dungeons and Dragons and instead of having a dungeon master like telling you the story, you have the book of tales that you follow along and tell the story of. It's very silly. It kind of like goes through sort of like Aladdin themed, like the 1001 Tales from Scheherazade. I really like it because it's a storytelling game, so it's not really competitive. You're just like going around and seeing what happens to each of the players. And then the other one is called Ricochet Robot. It is incredibly fast-paced and incredibly competitive. But basically you're like trying to move these little robot guys into different spaces and you need to do it in the most efficient way possible. So like the least number of moves. Also, to give you an example of some of the workout titles I've used, one is called Santarin Training Camp, just for reference.
Wow. Okay. I'm so excited.
Andy, there's got to be a game out there that you like.
Top two, Operation and Clue. Those are my two games. I love a good Clue. I love a good Clue. And I love a good Operation, but non-dominant hand style. Okay. That's how it goes down. It's non-dominant hand style to make everybody equally as disadvantaged, because inclusivity. That's how Andy rocks in her house. Everybody use your non-dominant hand. There we go. We play Operation, but it's a lot of good time. It forces you to encourage each other. And even if you're frustrated, everyone's equally as frustrated, but it forces an encouraging interaction.
And then it brings a lot of laughter too.
It does. It's so much fun. And don't let anybody have any spirits in them. Then they really hilarious.
If you like Clue, you should look into Kill Dr. Lucky. It is the anti-Clue. Instead of trying to figure out who killed the guy, you are trying to be the one to do the killing.
Wait, one more time. What's it called?
Kill Dr. Lucky.
We are very big on Catan in my household, and we have many versions of it. Allie, have you ever played?
What?
Allie, you need to play
behind.
Catan.
I know. I've heard of it, but I'm so behind.
You need to play it. What else do I like to play? We play a lot of card games. We do play a lot of card games, but
I play Mahjong.
I am obsessed with that. That's excellent.
Yes, I have Mahjong earrings as well. I have the characters.
The tiles, yeah.
I have the tiles.
I knew it. You need to get your...
Has a question on this Mahjong. Allie, at what age did you learn to play it? I am not an ageist by no means, but when I learned from an older person, and people my age, it's like a lost card game. People my age don't play it. And so for you to say, I love this game, I'm like, whoa, who taught you? Because it is a lost thing.
It is. I actually learned a couple of years ago, but my mom used to host a Mahjong club. And when I lived in a camp in Saudi Arabia, and so for years, like I'm talking, I guess when we moved there in like 2000. So her friends in Saudi taught her in like 2000. But we played the Chinese version, not the American version. The American version's harder, I believe. But we play like the base, like the bare minimum Chinese version. So yeah, a couple of years ago I learned, but it's so much fun. I love it.
I learned growing up in elementary. My best friend, her mom is from the Philippines, and she would have these massive parties with all of her Filipino friends, and we were allowed to participate and eat all the food, which I miss. And they would bring us in and they'd have several tables set up to play Mahjong, and we were playing with the actual physical tiles. I feel like so many people nowadays think it's just an app on your phone. No. You
never done that.
You got to play it with the clanking of the tiles. It's much more fun. I love it. But every time people say Mahjong, I picture these very, very tiny, short Filipino women.
I am really amused by this conversation because I also learned when I was very young from my grandmother. She had all of her and her neighbors would play together. They taught me to play. But in Atlanta, there is a Mahjong club. One of the Jewish synagogues has a club that they play regularly.
I am so mad that I didn't know about that when I lived there. Goodness, I would have been there. I would have taken you. We could have gone. I'm so
Absolutely.
upset. Goodness gracious. Yeah, that sounds so much fun. I've already said this kind of before, but to make the workouts enjoyable and fun and geared towards the person. So when we're chronically ill, I get this question a lot as a trainer as well. How do we motivate our clients to get back into it when we're just really struggling? I think how you make it, you connect their nerdiness to it, gets them excited. My advice was always like, get excited about your workout somehow. For me, I love to do my first sips before I do my workout, which is me drinking coffee before I work out and I dance, or I love to drink my pre-workout and dance. But if like I had a Doctor Who related workout, I would be so excited, like Alonzi squats or how you said the Centurion workout. That's amazing. Like I would freak. So I love that you do that because it gets them excited to work as well when they don't want to.
So this is my advice. Come up with some kind of questionnaire for your clients. You can find that way to bring them in and get them to feel like you're relating to them. Even
Keira,
if you're not.
Do you have that? Do you have a questionnaire for your clients?
I do. So the way that I go through my process is when a new client comes in, we set up a consult call and I have an assessment form. A lot of it is more of the intake form stuff like what kind of meds do you take? What kind of experience do you have? Do you have any illnesses or pain points or injuries? What are you looking for? Goals. But one of the questions in it is, what do you do in your free time? What are your hobbies? Then when we have that consult call, we talk a little bit more about it. I explain why I'm asking that question. Frequently, people will get excited about that just because of the idea of, hey, I'm going to make it silly and fun for them. One of the things I do with my online clients is I use an app called Trainerize. There's a function where I have a group setting so all of my clients can interact with each other. But every day I ask them a question and it gives them an opportunity to like interact with each other. It gives them an opportunity to like also be creative and get involved. Usually it's really silly questions. I have asked questions like, if you could have a fitness related superpower, what would it be? Or like, what kind of exercise do you think your favorite cartoon character would do? Silly things like that. The one I've been mostly asking recently is, what's bringing you joy right now? So it's a way to like engage them a little bit more in different ways and have them thinking about fitness in a way that isn't you have to lose weight in order to be a good person. It gives them a way to build more creativity within their health and fitness journeys so that they can feel good about it and feel more engaged with it.
I love that. Yeah.
If I dropped into your DMs and I said, hey, I want to sign up, I want some help, what would you ask? What would you ask me about myself?
The first question I always ask is, what are you looking for? I want to get a sense of how you're talking about things and how you're talking about yourself and what your goals are. One of the common things that I get is, I want to lose weight, but I can't do the things and I'm bad at X, Y, and Z. That gives me a lot of information about how they are viewing fitness, how they are starting and where they are, so I can guide them and build the direction in a way that feels better for both of us. Yeah, I tend to like start with the no nonsense. What are we doing first?
If I were to drop into your DM and I'm like, hey, I'm Jen, I'm over 40. I've had shoulder surgery, got physical therapy, but I'm still having issues within my shoulder. Love mountain bike riding, love hiking, live in the Pacific Northwest. I have a grandson. I used to love to rollerblade, love to play Catan, love coffee. If that is all I gave you for information, what would you write back to Jen? Well, I'm kind of curious to see, like, how does your brain work? What would you think if that's what I came at you with?
First, I would say something like, sounds like you do a lot of really great physical activity already, and you clearly have a good sense of what your body can do. What are you looking for? What are your goals? What brought you to me? I think that we would be a great fit based on what you're telling me. It sounds like you have a good sense of who you are and what you need. The next step is that we would set up a consult call, and here's how to do that.
Allie, I'm kind of curious. What would you say?
Along the same lines, I'd be like, babes, you are slaying if you're doing all these things. You're hiking, you're doing this and that. And also, you're so much fun too, playing games. Like, hello. I would talk about coffee, of course, because, I'd be like, have you seen my first sips? Because we can discuss coffee. What's your favorite? And then, I would say the same thing, like, oh, what are you looking for that I can help you with? Are you looking for a workout schedule? Are you looking to do one-on-ones? Are you looking for, I would like to know what you want in me and why you came to me. And then I would do the same thing. Like, all right, cool. This sounds a lot of fun. Let's have a consult call. And then we'll talk more about your goals and I'll do an assessment with you and we'll see where you're at. That's what I would do.
All I want to know is, how do I build this internal bra, guys? I need to know.
So welcome for that. And you don't even have, people overcomplicate this. And I just kind of want to dial it back. Let's start with the first thing you said was, I don't have it in me to do it. It starts with how you address it, right? If we're making it fun, if we've already made it a chore before we even start doing the chore, it is going to feel like a chore. You like the challenges. And you can do those same things with the challenges without the challenge kicking off. So then it becomes, what is the actual roadblock? What it actually is that you prefer or you thrive in community and you feel like it's not as fun when you have to do it by yourself. It's not even an accountability thing. You're just more encouraged when you do it with your community. But you started it off with, I've failed and I've gained 20 pounds. A lot of elements go into that, right? What was your stress level like? How was your sleep? Did any of your medications change? What was the environment? So when I work with people, and They're like, well, I did this, I gained. Okay. Yes, we're going to gain. Yep, that weight's going to fluctuate, but I'm going to go all the way down to the root. Let's figure out what all of these lifestyle things are, the things that are core to your body's restoration first. We can tweak all the other things, but I'm going to start with tweaking how you talk to you about you and in reference to anything that you are doing. And then we address the fitness aspect, because I can't address the fitness aspect if the mountain is you and that mountain's in your mind. We got to climb that mountain first. And then you go, why do I really just like these challenges? You like the challenges because you like the fun pictures that come associated with it. And you think it makes you feel 100% connected with the community that may also be embracing the suck of the do 100 burpees challenge, right? So now you have other people embracing the suck with you. It's the community that you crave. It's not that you cannot do the exercises or you cannot commit. It's the community that you crave.
You are really right. I wish everyone could see right now that all of you are nodding with me, and that's really it. And you're right. I mean, we all know I love community, but I love not feeling alone in the task. I love checking that box. So there's something great about checking a box.
The dopamine booster.
Mm-hmm.
ADHD people love it too.
Okay, plot twist. I feel like we are slaves to checking the box though, and it causes extra and unwarranted anxiety in the moments where we cannot check that box off, because we're so used to doing, being, going, and showing up that we often put things on that list that aren't priorities, but it was for the sake of us being, doing, going, and showing up, because we're used to doing that. But how often do we put the box to check? Sit in stillness. What's my chest, my stress temperature? What does that look like? Do nothing today. Can we check that off? I did nothing today. Check that off. You see what I'm saying? I allowed my body to self-regulate. Check that off.
Yeah. And that's really important to do. And we should add it to our list. And also, I just read the book ADHD is Awesome and love it. Highly recommend listeners to listen to the book. It's so good. But he was saying, the author was like, yours love it, like to check off that box. So sometimes I will, like you're saying, like once I'm done something, I'll write it in my planner once it's complete, and then I'll check off the box. And I'm like, oh,
Yep.
And if I can't check off the box, I don't beat myself up. I actually put a really cute sticker over it and hide it. And then I add it to the list that I have in the future that I know I can do. But we should add to our boxes, sit still and, and do those things as well.
One of my favorite notepads, and I used this at work, but I even use this at home now, is a notepad that has basically, one of them is that it has to be done today. And then there's one for needs to be done this week or needs to be done at some point. I love that because then I can write down my immediate needs. If there's tasks I have to get done today. And it could be things like, I need to eat today. I need to drink water today. I need to get out of bed today. It can be something simple like that. I think making that list, prioritizing the things we need to do, and including in that the sitting in stillness, sitting in quiet, giving ourselves grace, all of that. But
I love
those
that.
Those notebooks, life-changing for me.
And Keira, I'm curious, what is, in your opinion, the hardest thing when it comes to people with ADHD in exercising, coming from personal experience and also with your clients? What do you think is our biggest challenge with that?
Oh,
I know we're all different too. Like, I'm not trying to put us in a box.
I think the biggest thing, particularly right now, there's a huge boom of people getting late diagnosed. I think especially if you are a late diagnosed ADHDer, we were taught throughout our lives that because we weren't doing the thing, we were lazy, we were not good enough, we were bad, or whatever the stigma is of not doing the thing the way that we're supposed to in the time frame that we're supposed to. Really pulling ourselves away from the box that society tells us we're supposed to be in and allowing ourselves to be who we are is a big piece of it. For myself, I'm a program hopper. I cannot stick to a program for very long. I get bored immediately. I was always taught that program hopping is bad and you're not supposed to do that. I always felt shame about it. But at the end of the day, what actually matters if you're on some kind of health and fitness journey is that you are doing something. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it is something that you can do and you can do consistently. I have allowed myself to program hop for a lot of my ADHD clients, particularly ones who get bored really easily, normally I do a 2-week program cycle so that they have a larger number of workouts that they can pull from based on how they're feeling and what they're thinking that day. For myself, I have a 2-week cycle of workouts plus a play day, which is for me to go to the gym and do whatever I'm feeling and try new exercises that I've never done before. And I have a couple of other random workouts that I can pull in and out based on how I'm feeling in the moment. It's really about pulling back the shame and trying to acknowledge that all of these things that we were taught when we were young are no longer serving us and pushing it away so that you feel less. Because if you're sitting here feeling shamed about not doing the things in the, way that you're supposed to do them, it makes it a lot harder to do the things because you are sitting there just feeling bad about it instead of doing what makes sense for you.
I agree.
I really want to know about this internal bra.
Andy.
Oh, yes. I love when people ask me that question. So it is a real thing, and it's all in how you do flies. So women tend not to hit their chest at all of the angles, right? Act by science, body by iconic. This is one of these moments. Women have to hit all the angles. Why? Because your boobs cuff at all the angles. So if you're doing flies and you're normally doing it this way, hit it at the lower angle, come in at 45 degrees. That's going to give you your lift. You're going to come in this way. You're going to hit it at all of the angles, and then make sure you're drop setting, right? Make sure you're drop setting. Why? It builds the bra underneath here. Them girls come up here. You're just like, yay. They're back to where they need to be, and you correct your posture. But as you're doing your flies at all the angles, make sure you're working your lower back as well so that you really did correct your posture, and it is just a natural progression of the pull-up of your muscle. Y'all couldn't see the video, but I gave an example.
That is brilliant. I'm obsessed with it, and I have now learned something, and that might be my favorite thing that happened all day.
It is. You're going to watch the change. You're going to be like, wait a minute. Why does it lift it? I work with a lot of teenage athletes. And of course, they're like, how come my boobs don't look like? Okay, it's going to feel strange because it's one of the movements that I do the most with males because they want to taper out like a triangle. But women don't understand that it does the same thing for them. Only we have things that protrude. Dudes just have puffy areolas. It's building their internal bra, but it makes their pecs look huge. It's the exact same concept. Well, building the internal bra makes our boobs look bigger, except they're not bigger. They just sit where they're supposed to sit finally.
I like that. Thank you.
Not me over here Googling.
You're welcome.
You know what makes me mad? The first one that came up when I Googled it was surgery. It was showing implants. Of course. It was showing implants to go in and do the internal bra. No. That's not what I'm asking for. But it's my goal. I'm 44 years old, but I have amazing boobs. I really do. I don't mean to sound into myself easy. I have very firm, very in-place boobs, but I want to make sure they stay that way. I just do. I mean, it's like my goal. I want to be 60 and have them where they should be. I don't want them going to my knees.
So Jen, when you reach out to us as trainers in our DMs, that would be a great thing to say. Like, what goal? Like Keira said, like, what's your goal? I want my boobs to be up and ready to go for when I'm older. So yeah. And then Andy would be like, I have this internal bra. Yep.
Yeah. If you would have slid into my inbox and said, I no longer want to kick around my areolas, I would have been like, you know what? I got you. Internal bra.
Yeah. Because, I'm obviously being honest with you guys that I've gained weight and I want to lose my weight. But my biggest goal is actually looking at what I want to be ahead of time. So what do I want to look at when I'm 60? Because I have the energy and I have the time and I have the desire now. So how can I make sure that by the time I reach 60, I'm there? And how can I keep it there? Because I don't want to be 60 and having my boobs touching the ground. If a listener is curious about working with you, what's the best way for them to get started?
I am on Instagram as chaoticgoodfitness23 or my website. My Instagram is basically me making silly reels. Some of them are little snippet suggestions for how to do whatever kind of thing. Some of them are silly, like I did a series of what exercise you would be based on your zodiac sign recently. With my website, it's chaoticgoodfitness.com. You can use that to look up my prices, look up a little bit more of my vibes, and like get my, basic concepts of how I work. Gives you all the lists of my services. And that is where you can get the link to set up a consult call.
What's next for Chaotic Good Fitness? Are there any exciting projects or goals that you are working towards?
My focus goal right now is creating systems so my ADHD stops getting the best of me. I am great with my business, but also like I have a giant messy Google folder and all of this stuff. And like I'm trying to make it nicer and easier for myself to do. In terms of projects, the main thing I'm most excited about right now is I'm in the process of making a couple of ebooks and programs specifically focused on certain hobbies. So like I am a crafter, I crochet and I sew, and I have a program that is built around being able to continue to be able to craft when I am 80 years old and not be too uncomfortable to do it. And then I also really like going and dancing live music shows and stuff. I am working on a program for how to be able to dance forever. Those are the two big ones.
Yes.
Yeah. We truly appreciate you giving us your time to chat.
Thank you. It was so much fun chatting with you, Keira.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it.
It was really good to get to know you.
All right, Spoonies. Until next time, don't forget your spoon. All guests featured or mentioned in this podcast will be listed for your convenience. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to My Spoonie Sisters and follow My Spoonie Sisters on Instagram for updates on new episodes and more. We eagerly look forward to speaking and hearing from all our Spoonies. Disclaimer: while we are not doctors or healthcare practitioners, we want to assure you that this podcast is credible source of information. It's based on our guests' personal experiences and the strategies we've found effective for ourselves. However, everyone's body is unique, and what works for one person may not work for another. If you have any health-related questions, it's always best to consult your primary doctor or rheumatologist. Remember, our goal at My Spoonie Sisters is to connect people and provide them with the support and tools they need to live better lives.